Your dog tilts their head at you, ears perked, eyes locked on yours, and something in your chest tightens because it's so impossibly cute you can almost feel it physically. You think they're confused. You think they're trying to understand your words. But what if that head tilt isn't confusion at all? What if it's something far more complex? Something that reveals how deeply your dog is studying you, mapping you, trying to bridge a gap that most owners never realize exists. Subscribe to the channel because what you're about to learn will completely change how you see this one simple gesture. Number 1. The acoustic adjustment theory. When your dog tilts their head, their ears are actually moving through space to capture sound from different angles. And this isn't random or accidental, but a deliberate repositioning of their auditory system to extract more information from your voice. Research from behavioral scientists studying canine auditory processing has found that dogs can detect sound frequencies between 40 Hz and 60,000 Hz, compared to our measly 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz range. Which means, when you speak, your dog is hearing layers in your voice that you don't even know you're producing. The head tilt changes the distance between each ear and the sound source, creating what ethologists call binaural disparity, a difference in timing and intensity that helps the brain calculate exactly where a sound is coming from and what emotional freight it's carrying. Your dog isn't just hearing your words. They're analyzing the microscopic tremors in your vocal cords, the tension in your throat, the breath support behind each syllable. Watch closely next time, and you'll notice the tilt often happens when you change your tone, when you ask a question, when you say their name with a particular inflection, because they're fine-tuning their reception to catch every nuance. This is your dog turning you up, adjusting their biological antenna to receive the full signal of what you're transmitting. And what they're searching for in that signal goes far deeper than simple word recognition. Number 2. The visual field compensation. Your dog's muzzle is blocking part of their view of your face, and the head tilt is actually a workaround for this anatomical reality that most owners never consider. Dogs with longer snouts, breeds like German Shepherds or Golden Retrievers, tilt their heads more frequently than flat-faced breeds like pugs or bulldogs. And studies published in animal cognition journals have documented this correlation across thousands of observations. When your dog looks straight at you, their nose creates a blind spot that obscures your mouth. And since dogs are extraordinarily attuned to reading human facial expressions, particularly the lower half of the face where emotional leakage happens most obviously, this blind spot is a problem they need to solve. The tilt rotates their head just enough to move the muzzle out of the way, giving them an unobstructed view of your lips, your jaw tension, the micro-expressions around your mouth that betray what you're actually feeling beneath what you're saying. Your dog has learned that human mouths leak truth, that the words coming out matter less than the shape of the mouth producing them, the tightness or softness, the smile or the press of concern. They tilt because they need to see all of you, because whatever you're communicating, they know the most important parts aren't in the words themselves, but in the flesh that forms them. And they're not willing to miss a single clue. Number 3. The cognitive processing signal. The head tilt happens most often when your dog is trying to reconcile something familiar with something novel, when their brain is actively working to match a known pattern with new information that doesn't quite fit. Ethologists studying canine cognition have identified that dogs tilt their heads significantly more when they hear words they recognize embedded in unusual contexts, or when they hear a familiar voice producing an unfamiliar emotional tone. This is your dog's brain actually working in real time, the physical manifestation of cognitive effort, like watching someone's face scrunch in concentration when solving a puzzle. The processing isn't about confusion in the way we think of it, that helpless bewilderment when something makes no sense, but rather the active work of integration, of taking what they know about you and updating it with this new data point you're providing. When you say their name in a tone you've never used before, when you use your happy voice but your body language is tense, when you're talking about something that includes familiar words in an unfamiliar sequence, their brain flags the mismatch, and the head tilt is the physical tell that they're running the analysis. You can actually see intelligence happening in that moment. Watch your dog thinking. Watch them trying to close the gap between expectation and reality. What looks cute to you is actually your dog working hard to understand you better, to build a more accurate model of who you are and what you might do next. Because their survival and happiness depend on reading you correctly. Number 4. The emotional engagement display. Your dog tilts their head more when they're emotionally invested in what's happening, when the interaction matters to them, and this reveals something profound about how they experience their relationship with you. Research into canine social behavior has documented that dogs show the head tilt most frequently with their primary attachment figure, the person they've bonded with most deeply, and significantly less with strangers or even with other household members they're less connected to. The tilt is partially performative, not in a manipulative way, but in the sense that your dog has learned this behavior gets a response from you. That when they tilt their head, you light up. You smile, you engage more intensely. They've mapped the cause and effect. Tilted head equals human attention and warmth. And they're using that knowledge strategically because your attention is valuable currency in their world. But underneath the learned component is something more vulnerable. The tilt happens when they're genuinely trying to connect, when the gap between your species feels particularly wide, and they're reaching across it with every tool they have. Watch their eyes when they tilt. Truly watch them. And you'll see the softness there, the openness, the willingness to be fully present with you despite not understanding your language, your world, your strange human concerns. The head tilt is your dog showing up for you, demonstrating that whatever you're saying, however confusing the specifics might be, they're here and they're listening. And they care about getting it right. Because you matter to them more than anything else in their world. Number 5. The oxytocin feedback loop. When your dog tilts their head and you respond with heightened attention, with a higher pitched voice, with a smile or a lean forward, both of your brains release oxytocin, the bonding neurochemical. And this creates a reinforcing cycle that deepens your attachment with every repetition. Studies from institutions researching human-animal bonds have measured oxytocin levels before and after these micro-interactions and found that both species experience significant spikes. The same neurochemical cascade that bonds mothers to infants, partners to each other. Your dog's head tilt triggers your nurturing response. Your nurturing response triggers their bonding response. And the loop spirals deeper with each iteration, carving neural pathways that make your connection stronger and more automatic. This is why the head tilt feels so powerful to you, why it bypasses your rational mind and hits you straight in the emotional core. Because your brain recognizes it as a bonding signal, even if you can't articulate why. Your dog has stumbled into, or perhaps deliberately cultivated, one of the most effective tools for strengthening your relationship. And they deploy it when they need to close the distance between you, when they sense you're distracted or distant or caught up in your human concerns. The cuteness you feel isn't shallow or silly. It's your biology responding to their biology. Two social species that evolved separately, finding common ground in a gesture that says, "I'm here. I see you." This moment between us matters. Every time your dog tilts their head and you melt a little, you're not being fooled or manipulated. You're participating in something real. A chemical and emotional transaction that benefits both of you. Number 6. The trust demonstration. The head tilt is also a vulnerability display. A moment when your dog is showing you that they're willing to be uncertain in your presence, to not have all the answers, to rely on you for clarity and guidance. In the wild, showing confusion or processing delay could be dangerous, could signal weakness to predators or competitors. But your dog tilts their head freely with you because they trust the space between you is safe enough for them to not know something. They're letting you see them think, letting you witness the gap between what they understand and what they're still figuring out. And that's an intimacy most owners take for granted. Research into canine emotional intelligence shows that dogs are capable of what's called secondary emotions, feelings about feelings, and the willingness to show confusion to a trusted figure while hiding it from strangers suggests they understand social risk and choose to take it with you. When your dog tilts their head, they're saying you're safe enough that I don't have to pretend I understand everything. I can be uncertain here. I can be incomplete here, because I trust you won't exploit that vulnerability. This is the same trust that allows them to fall asleep in your presence, to expose their belly, to turn their back on a doorway because they know you're watching it. The head tilt is less dramatic than those other trust signals, but just as meaningful. A small daily proof that your dog has chosen to build their life in the space of not knowing with you. To accept that there will always be things about you they don't fully understand, but they're going to keep trying anyway. Keep reaching, keep tilting their head, and searching your face for clues. Because the relationship is worth the effort of constant translation. Every time your dog tilts their head, they're doing 6 things at once: adjusting their ears, clearing their visual field, processing new information, engaging emotionally, triggering your bonding response, and demonstrating trust. And the cumulative effect of all these layers is a gesture that contains more communication than most human conversations. You thought it was just cute, just a quirky thing dogs do. But now you know it's your dog deploying their entire toolkit to understand you better, to close the gap between your species, to build and maintain the bond that structures their entire world. The next time your dog tilts their head, you won't just smile and move on. You'll recognize it for what it is: an invitation to be fully present, a demonstration of effort and care, a small, perfect moment where your dog is saying, "I'm trying to know you. I'm working to meet you where you are. I'm here." Share this video with someone who needs to see their dog differently. Subscribe to the channel where we reveal the hidden language between you and your dog. And remember that every gesture, every glance, every tilt of the head is your dog speaking a language most owners never learn to hear.